I was talking to my dad, and he was like saying how he was afraid something was gonna happen. And that morning when I was going on the train, he was like, "Jade, be really careful, because Hamas says they're gonna fight back," or something like that.
It was trending. I was going to bed, and before I go to bed, I usually check all the trends and things like that, and it was the #1 trending topic.
I actually found out on television. I just happened to be at a friend's house when it was on the news. So, you know, pretty much it was on every single channel. So whatever channel you had that was, you know, anything involving news was broadcast. So I heard about it in the news, and then I later did the research my own and via the internet to find more information about it.
The level of coverage, I wasn't too impressed or happy with sort of the celebratory tone. I know he was a bad dude and all, and I know he's probably the most despicable human being on the planet, but I just find celebrating the death of anyone to be distasteful.
Annoyingly flooded, like to the point where I'm kind of over it at this point, like desensitized over the issue. Like I don't even want to hear about it because it's like everywhere and it's like every day the front page of like every news paper or online site, so it's kind of like overkill in my opinion.
And I'm not a believer, I'm not a supporter of assassinations, and I also agree with, I think one of you guys, I think you were saying that I think somebody's going to slip into that spot. You know, I think the same thing would happen. I mean, I've had this argument with people on the extreme left saying we should assassinate somebody like Bush and remove him from power. You got Dick Cheney right behind him, yo. You know, I mean, I don't think that that's necessarily going to change anything. There's always somebody that's going to step into that place because there's a social movement or a political movement behind them.
It's interesting because when I first hear about things, it's usually via social media, and then I'll go and like back it up by finding traditional media. So I use like both sources, like in conjunction. I might find out something quicker on Facebook, and then I'll like go research it on like an actual traditional media source.
It's kind of a compromise between depth, which you get through traditional news, and kind of sincerity, which you get through social media. Well, I think I would trust the accuracy of probably a large news source more than, especially about things going on around the world, because you know my buddy Steve's not going to be in Tunisia. I think it's trust through distrust. Like if you think everything is slightly lying, you know, whatever kind of is in the middle has to be true.
I pretty much take most media with a grain of salt. I like to read different sources, different sites, and sort of decipher it on my own and come to my own conclusions.
I think a lot was ignored about what was going on in Pakistan. I mean, from my understanding, it seems like there was no way on earth that Pakistan was not harboring him voluntarily. And I don't seem to think that there was enough, they didn't put Pakistan's feet to the fire enough in terms of the media.
When I'm with you guys on the sort of cheering that was going on in Times Square, I immediately thought of putting myself in the shoes of someone that was living in an Islamic country, and how would that look? Like, what's going on? And I do not believe in the death penalty, so I'm wholly against assassinations and just killing. I juxtaposed those two things. It was like,
it feels very similar.
Yeah, it feels really similar to me. Even talking like about if I lost someone, you know, in my family, and would I want the death penalty for the person that killed the person in my family? I wouldn't. Like, that's just not how I feel.
I'd like to know more about the perspective of other countries from the Middle East and learn about like how their views of Osama bin Laden and just issues having to do with terrorism in the Middle East have to do, because I mean it's their area, but I mainly hear about our perspectives from a European or American-centric perspective, which I think is one-sided to an extent.
He killed the innocent. He blew up public property. Terrorism does not belong in Islam. The terrorists are hiding behind Islam.
I mean, definitely the thing about the internet and just information at large, whatever you're looking for, you can find. So, I mean, you can find what you're looking for, but it's not as readily available as I feel like it should be.
I have the Thomson Reuters app, Twitter, I get a lot from Twitter, and people's status updates on Facebook.
My news sources come from the internet, whether it be the New York Times, BBC, NPR, Huffington Post, but from internet sites.
Frankly, I despise the 24-hour news channel. Despise that because they generate, it's a self-feeding kind of thing. I mean, if nothing's happening on Twitter, nothing's happening on Twitter. They'll talk about Dancing with the Stars or whatever, and they'll save the hard news for when it actually happens.